You say that sometimes you have to be in a certain frame of mind. You sometimes will pass on a particular experiment because you honest and say, I don't feel it, or I am not getting the thought. Is that true?
That's true. I really have to be in the mood to do things and have them happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's setting up right away that he might mess this up. This is not guaranteed. And there was if you thought you heard Jesse Ventura in there, you were right. I was watching this. It said full video of the full appearance, and I wasn't expecting little pop-ups to be in it. So play soundboard 2.
Whoa. Hold on. He's just going to take me out like that?
I was confused by that. Whoa.
Where the hell did he come from?
And it's not even...
Hold on. He's just going to take me out like that?
It's not even Jesse Ventura. It's James Adomian Ventura on CBB, on Comedy Bang Bang. And I don't know why the whole video clip is just shoved in this like they wanted to add their own little soundboard clip. It is the only thing like that in there. It's a very, I don't know what's going on with this. Anyway,
weird.
This appearance...
It's funny because it actually was kind of relevant.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was.
Hold on. He's just going to take me out like that?
All right. I'm very happy to add that, though.
That's pretty good.
Great.
Pretty good.
Yeah. So this appearance, though, like I said, terrible. This appearance for Yuri, you can hear it right in the beginning. It's so awkward. And Johnny Carson, he just keeps trying to get him to do something. Anything. He's got all this stuff in front of him. He's not touching it. He's like, I've got some sealed pictures that you can guess, and he tries to entice him again. He's got the table of goodies, and then this happens.
All of these objects have been supplied by us. You did not bring anything here at all. We have a small, what you would call a file box with a die in it, which I understand sometimes someone can place the die in the box and shake it up, and you have a very good law of averages in naming the number that is on the top spot of the die without touching the box or opening it whatsoever. So, would you like to try anything here?
Why don't you ask some more questions?
Want me to ask you some more questions? You have
May I ask, when did you discover this power?
Okay, shut up, Ricardo Montalban. Yeah, he's there, too. He's sitting next to him. What other questions does he need? He's like, I've got all this stuff. You're on TV. You're ready to go. He's like, at one point, I don't think it's in here. He's like, your producer said you had like 1,000 questions for me. He's like, no, you're here to bend things and do stuff.
How long does he think the show is?
He's pretty transparent about saying, like, look, I'm trying to buy some time here. Can you just let my engines warm up a little bit?
It reminds me of our first episode when they had the woman with the briefcase, and they were like, what's in the briefcase?
Yeah.
And she was like, I'm seeing the briefcase.
They had to, like, add a little addendum at the end. Like, a couple hours later, she figured out his lunch was in there, or whatever that was.
Oh, no,
I'm not going to look at Ricardo Montalban the same after that, because he was so close to having him. Had him against his heels, and Ricardo Montalban is just going to chime in with some dumb question. Anyway, he finally attempts to do something. He tries to guess which one of those cylinders has the thing in it, that trick. He looks at them all. He never actually finishes the trick. This whole thing, this goes on for 20 minutes of the Johnny Carson show. At one point, they just stop it, too, and it's like it's just like, a station error or something. It just absolutely nothing.
They like cut to like we'll be right back screen, and it just was
like a guy.
It was just on the screen,
the camera, like sweating, like ah.
Yeah, it was very strange, awkward moment.
Oh God, that's cringy.
Mercifully, it ends like this.
What I mean is, for instance, in experiments, it's covered with bell jars, and there are cameras running, and many scientists looking at every point, although you're trying to do the same, but this is really not a controlled condition. But again, it's quite difficult for me, and I won't go on something that I don't feel strong for.
All right. Well, it doesn't leave us much, does it?
Wow, what an absolute letdown to get your chance to go on Johnny Carson.
Cover up the goddamned liar.
Yeah, and he had to be insulting on top of it, like kind of saying, like, look, it's not me, it's you. I just don't like this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible. And this episode, this is about the Amazing Randi. So why am I playing this? I'll tell you.
I don't know.
Amazing Randi had appeared on Johnny Carson many, many times, and when the show booked Uri Geller as a guest, they reached out to him to come on, but he wasn't able to. Instead, he told the producers of the show exactly what they needed to do to prevent Uri Geller from doing any kind of tricks on him. He figured out the carnival aspect of what this guy was doing, so he had it set everything up in a way where he would actually have to be telekinetic or metal changing ability or whatever to pull this off. So I'm going to call this is his first TV on-screen debunking that James the Amazing Randi did, and he wasn't even there.
It was really good. It was actually very well done. And I love that Johnny Carson and his people were like, all right, let's see what the fuck happens here. They were into it, you know?
Because on other shows, he'll go and do the tricks quite easily. And it was something about he looked at that table immediately and knew something was up. It was because it was set up in a way to where he would actually have to have that ability to be able to do it. And that's why he just stumbled and fumbled and stopped.
Yep. He knew it wasn't fixed in his favor anymore.
He immediately was like, I'm here to answer questions, actually.
God, that's kind of stuff. If you are,
I thought you were here to interview me. That's what I do.
If you're a BS artist and you think, oh man, I'm top of my game. I'm going on this huge show. Oh my God, what has happened? So
you know who he kind of reminds me of a little bit?
Interview me about golden rice.
That's a good one.
He reminds me of that lady from Florida too, who was like, "Oh, by the way, the interview ended, and I have to go now."
Yes. Hold on, I got her. Where is she?
Well, she wanted 0 questions.
Yeah, I guess it's the opposite. She wanted. He wants. Look, I thought you had more of these questions.
We just finished the interview, and I think we're going to leave it at that.
Yeah, there she is.
Thank you. There she is. So, James Randi, he wasn't done with Uri Geller because there's still the matter of those spoon bendings that, Uri's best material. So here's Amazing Randi on a show called Not for Women Only, hosted by a young Barbara Walters. And Barbara Walters is a Uri believer. She calls out Amazing Randi for trying to debunk him because she has Amazing Randi on her show and then says this.
Let me show some things he did with me. And I'm a pretty honest person, okay? I mean, we all know it.
I understand that,
no
yes.
kidding. This is my house key.
Mm-hmm.
Uri Geller took it. Let's take this other one. It's a matching key. He went like this with it, with his finger. That's all. No pressure. And the key bent. You can see that. And I've carried it around because I found that I'm a believer now. People in the audience said that their keys bent. Well, I can't prove that, but I can prove that mine did. Here is my identical key. Touch it and make it bend.
All right, now it's become a challenge. And I think this is kind of why the world needed Uri Geller. Like, Barbara Walters, was she just falling for everything back then?
She's an easy
I don't know.
target.
I didn't watch her much back then, but yeah, I mean, she's America's
Wait, hold on,
sweetheart.
Drea. You're telling me you haven't gone back and watched all of Not for Women Only?
It's on my list to do, and I feel like a really bad female.
It's like a prequel. It's a prequel to The View, I'm pretty sure.
It probably
kind of
is.
makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, boy. You know what a show for women only should be called? Not for Women Only. So
AKA The View. Yeah.
So he finds he's got an identical key. So she gives him a key. Let's see if he's up to this challenge.
I am going to see if this is a different one from this one. This isn't a duplicate, am I correct?
Right.
This one has a stamp on it saying 207 West something. This doesn't have a stamp on it. You see the little stamp on it there?
Yeah.
Would you hold the end of it very lightly in between your fingers, Barbara? And I'm just going to stroke it. Now, I'm not putting enough pressure on it to bend it.
No.
Okay. I'm just going to stroke it with my fingers very lightly like this. Now, look at the bend that's in the other key.
No, I won't take my eyes off this key.
Very good. I'm glad to hear you say that. Would you show it to the camera, please? Now, is it bent as much as this key or not? Are you going to keep this key too, Barbara? On your keychain?
Oh, damn, I wish I could see what was happening.
Yeah, he bent the key, and I'm reminded of P.P. Warren again. There's a lot of stroking going on with that key. In the
The way he does it is very sensual.
Yeah, you can't have magic without stroking, I think is the bottom line here.
I'm not keeping my eyes off you. Yes, very good, Barbara. You're
I'm so glad to hear you say that.
All of these, we've been saying it so many times, we just got to play it.
You turn this knob with one hand as you stroke the stick plate with the other, and when you feel that stick You leave that knob in the position it was in.
So, whenever I feel bad about like some long soundboard clip I'll make, I'll be reminded of that. I forget how long. Shut up. We know.
Oh, it's such a classic, though.
You got to stroke it.
But that's not the only trick that he debunked on this appearance on Not for Women Only. He had Barbara Walters make a drawing and seal it in an envelope, and somehow he was able to do that trick also. He was able to guess a drawing put in an envelope because Uri Geller had come on the show and done the same thing. And I gotta say, I still don't know how either of them did it. But
they just got lucky.
I don't know how. Yeah, they just drew it out, the same picture sealed up, but
maybe it's like a psychological thing, where they could just guess what people are most likely to draw. Like, okay, what are things that people draw? A stick figure.
Yeah.
It's like a reverse Rorschach test is kind of what you're talking about.
It's like, okay, this person seems like they're going to draw a butterfly. I'm just going to guess a butterfly.
Uri Geller guessed that Barbara Walters drew 2 stick figures holding hands, and that was right. And all the Amazing Randi did was draw a stick house with a cloud, and that was actually right, too. It's so insane. It's like people know 3 drawings. It's like the next would have been car, and that would have been it.
Yeah. It's like it's got to be the house with like the window that has 4 panes and a sun, and the sun's wearing sunglasses. Yeah. That's what I draw every time.
One time I met a street illusionist at a party, and he was like doing tricks for people, and he did this trick where he was like, draw something on the back of this card, and I drew a spiral because I've never seen someone do a spiral in this situation, and he knew that's what it was. I don't know.
Yeah, you got duped, of course. He knew what's going on. You probably lost some money on that. I'm sorry, man.
I got to keep the card.
Was a man?
There you go. You got the picture frame behind.
Exactly.
You see it. We're on video. That's weird. All right. But it wasn't just telekinetic mentalists that Randi was looking to debunk, though. Because I think he just got the feel for it when he could go after Uri Geller, because he's coming from being a magician, and this guy is claiming that he's a scientifically backed psychic. I think he has every right to prove that it is all trickery, because he knows better than anyone. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of weird stuff going on in the 70s and 80s, man. Just weirdos abound. The 60s just puked them out, and they were everywhere. And this is something we've talked about very recently, channelers. So let's hear a little about these famous channelers from Amazing Randi.
This woman is J.Z. Knight. She's also the one they call Ramtha, a mystical male spirit 35,000 years old who claims to be divine.
I must understand that the so-called channelers were claiming that they could contact long-dead spirits. Now, not a few hundred years back. No, they're much more ambitious than that. Tens of thousands of years ago.
Indeed.
And they would speak in funny voices like this.
God bless you, Dr. Peeper. All right, I'll say, how are you this day of your time as you create time to exist?
They were very popular. They gave talks, huge prices for the seats.
There are often so many people, the Ramtha organization can earn up to $200,000 for a single appearance.
And you're my first 35,000-year-old guest.
It was such nonsense. I can't think of that technical term. Oh, yes, bullshit.
Love him. I love him so much.
I love him. So, yeah, evidently, I don't know what Ramtha, it was the Uri Geller of channelers at this time, bigger than we thought. Do you guys like that little mashup they did? They played some Ramtha. You heard Bashar in there, too?
Yeah, yeah.
On this very day.
In the time which you have created to
in
be.
this time, in this very day.
Create. Yes. But
whatever.
There's one guy. Okay, hold on. There's one guy I've never heard of, and we got to look into him. Play Soundboard 3, because I got to find this guy.
God bless you, Dr. Peeper.
Who is this?
Honestly, I hope that you
him.
don't find this guy, because I hate him already. Like, no, thank you.
God bless you, Dr. Peeper.
I'm sure one of our listeners is going to know who that is. So somebody please clue us into that, so that we can ignore him.
Find, yes. Oh,
there's a scene. By the way, we should mention what this. Did you mention what this documentary is called?
A lot of this, I want to say that not in the entirety of this episode, but a good amount of what you're hearing right now is from a great documentary that I'll talk about more about later. It's called An Honest Liar. It's great, and when you watch it, you'll say,
God bless you, Dr. Peeper.
No. Okay, I hope I don't. Maybe it's a good thing that I didn't watch this, that I failed to do my research yet again. I apologize.
The visual is actually
For
worse,
nothing.
so that's why you got to watch that thing. This guy's... We'll find him.
They show like a bunch of them in a room
Instagram.
together, which sounds like a nightmare. Imagine a bunch of channelers all channeling at the same
Oh
time.
my god, they're all trying to out-channel each other. Like, it'd be really funny if
They're
they all
getting
tried to channel
confused.
each other.
Ramtha's
Sounds like a
in
nightmare.
Bashar. Bashar's in Abraham. That one